All right, guys, hello again. We are back. All right, so I gotta take my reading glasses off. I'm gonna put my painting glasses on so I can keep painting. Um, well, let's start it. Let's start this stream off. It's 10 o'clock, so normally I start at 11, but this morning I got up really early and started painting. Thought I'd just go ahead and turn the camera on. I'm a little bit prepared today. I actually have a list that I can't read because I got my painting glasses on, but I've got a list of topics that I want to talk about today. If you've never been to any of my Wargaming Weekly videos, what I do is I work on some project while I just talk. Um, and occasionally I will look up at the chat to see if I missed anything. And if I have, I'll answer it. So don't expect the chat to be addressed immediately. Um, Bear with me is what I'm asking. I'm asking for your forgiveness, your understanding that I'm not looking at the chat. I'm looking at my miniatures and the paint and my brushes and all that stinking jazz. And because I got these glasses on, it's a little hard for me to actually read the screen. Just so you know. Okay, so this first thing, and we're going to be on for a couple hours, uh, depending, depending on how good I feel or how far we progress. Might stay on a little more than that. Um, okay, so if you are familiar with my channel and my historical um, commentaries and videos, um, you will know that I'm currently working on a Napoleonic Russian commission for a customer of mine, and that's what's on the table right here. And I've been working on it for about 2.5, 3 weeks, something like that. And I'll take a break from it to uh, to work on some other project that I have personally, basically just to take a break, you know. But over this last week or so, I've really been putting an effort into getting these completed. I want to get these done in less than a week. Right? That's my goal. Actually, I'd like to have them done this weekend. Um, and I think I can if I just hunker down and work on them. Um, okay, so that's the first thing. Um, okay, this is not actually on my notes, but it just came to my mind just now. I want to talk about, and it might have something to do with miniature gaming and the store and all that stuff, but not directly. I want to talk about the UPS Teamster strike. I don't know if you guys are following that. It's been resolved. But the resolution is that the union won against the UPS management, right? Their salaries all went up, and everybody basically got a raise. Does anybody out there know? I do. What the average UPS driver salary is? Um, a UPS driver works hard. I know this. They go into neighborhoods they probably don't want to go into. They have to carry 70-pound boxes. You know, they have to run from dogs. All kinds of nastiness. Okay, we know this. We know that. But do you know how much money they get paid? The average UPS driver now, after this strike, gets paid $49. 49.80 or something like that. Almost $50 an hour. Um, that's good for them. That's they're well compensated. Okay? All right. But that's not where this conversation ends. Uh so UPS isn't going to be able to pay them from some imaginary money tree. So you can expect UPS rates to go up. They're already charging almost $10 per pound, which is way too much, in my opinion. But they're going to charge a lot more. Okay, because management doesn't care, right? Well, they care, but they are not going to suffer, so they're going to charge their customers. Who's one of the biggest customers of UPS? Amazon. Amazon, I don't know if you guys buy things from Amazon or have it delivered. Not everything is free shipping, but a lot of things are free for Prime members. Okay, so Amazon's going to have to adjust their Prime membership to pay for the new higher UPS bill. What does that mean? That means I and you and whoever else shops at Amazon, gets things delivered to the home, has a Prime membership, so I get to watch Prime videos and things like that because I have a Prime membership. But I also get free shipping, so Prime members are their rate's probably going to go up a couple of dollars a month. So it just, well, I'm curious to know if you guys are out there in the world and if you're listening to me, what are your thoughts about this UPS Teamster strike? settlement. You don't have to answer, but if you have an opinion, or if you have strongly worded opinion, go ahead and let me know what it is. Um, but I actually have a negative opinion, not because uh, I don't know how to say this. Not the drivers. They're only following the directions of the union, right? But this union and okay, I don't know. I know like 3 or 4 UPS drivers, only the ones that ever have delivered to me, right? Um, I don't like go to the UPS Christmas party or anything. So I don't I don't know these guys, but it sounds to me like they're a bunch of pussies. And I don't mean that directed at any one driver, just as a whole, in general. We got police officers that go into those neighborhoods, put their life on the line. Literally, some of them get shot and killed, and they don't make $50 an hour. Do you know how much $50 an hour is a year? It's approximately $100,000. I had a police officer friend here in town, and I think he started somewhere around 40,000. I think this is a couple of years back too, and I'm sure inflation has something to do with it. But if a UPS driver is making more than a police officer, there's something wrong. Or a fireman, or an Army NCO. An Army NCO makes what? Around 45,000, something like that. Well, with benefits and stuff, we'll say 50,000, maybe 60,000. Even then, it's not 100,000. Yeah, I'm butthurt about that. It doesn't affect me yet, but I can see within the year I'm going to be feeling the impact, because my rates are going to go up, my shipping charges are going to go up, my Amazon Prime account is going to go up. Yeah, I think it's horrible. Okay, that wasn't on my agenda, but it was just some information I fell into, and I was curious to know what other people think about it. Um, all right, so let's talk about some videos I'm making. Basically, I'm touching on some bullet points that I wrote down. So uh, we can go through these bullet points while I'm painting. I'll probably run out of bullet points because when I write down my bullet points, I tend to like rifle through them super fast, and then I run out of things to talk about. So that's what you get when you organize, right? You can shorten your videos, but I don't want to do that. I want to lengthen my videos. I don't want to shorten them. I like long form videos. You know, people at work, you know, put me on in the background, and then they go to work and they just listen, you know, or something like that. Well, I don't have enough to say to be on every day. If I did, I would be on every day. I make videos every day. I'm going to have to tell you that. I don't think I've gone a single day in the last, I don't know, 5 years, maybe 10 years, that I haven't turned the camera on every day. Literally. We'll say 5 years. We'll say 5 years. Because probably before that, I think I was making 2 or 3 videos a week. Now I'm making anywhere from 7 to 10 videos a week. A lot of them are computer games, and some of them are historical miniature related. Some of them are role playing related, etc., etc. Uh, okay, so where was I gonna? What was I going with? Okay, videos that we're making. Um, I'm currently in the middle of a Meg boot camp. Um, Meg is Mortem et Gloriam, which is an ancient and medieval historical miniature game. Um, I don't want to say this, but I'm going to. It's not well written. It's a great game. I love the game, and I love the author. I think he's right on the same wavelength as I am. But there are the grammar is just not very good. And I blame whatever company he hired to edit the the wording in the books, because there are sentences that are run-on sentences. He has sentences that don't have the verb. They don't have a they don't have the noun, or whatever, and there's no punctuations where they belong. It's just, now don't get me wrong, I am the I am not an English expert, but my wife is. My wife's an English major, um, master's degree. She teaches English for a living, so I think some of that is rubbed off on me, but probably not, because I don't ever listen to her. But but when I'm reading this book, I'm like, what did that sentence just say? And I'm doing that like every page. It's not that I don't grasp the concepts, because I'm very familiar with miniature wargaming and what they mean by like zone of control and movement rates and rough terrain and tough, difficult ground and bases and measurements and just every things that everybody would know that's ever played a miniature game ever. But when you go through the book and it's describing something, um, I read it and I go, what did he mean? Did he mean the guy goes there, or did he mean the guy goes there? And then I read it a second time, and then I read it a third time, and then I go, okay, well, here, let me stop reading this. Let me look at the example, I look at the example and it shows a picture of a unit doing something, and there's text in the picture that describes the unit doing something that it's not doing in the picture. I'm like, what the hell? I can figure it out. I have figured it out. And the concept of the game is like really good. It's one of the best actually. I just wish it was written in a way that wasn't like I had to sit here and decipher a foreign language. It's written in English, or so I thought. Now, I understand that the author is South African, right? But I thought they spoke English. I don't know. Thought it was an English colony, a lot like Australia, you know, like America. I don't know. So now it could be that the editor English is their second language. That's possible, and they don't realize what's happening to these rules. But I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening to these rules? Now I have clarifications, and I have gone to their website, and I've looked at their clarifications, and yes, there are a number of them, but um, yeah, I don't know. So that's I'm glad that after starting this Meg boot camp, I'm glad I'm doing it, because if I'm struggling comprehending these rules, I'm sure there are people out there that are struggling comprehending the rules. Okay, let me back up and say I'm not struggling to comprehend the rules. It's pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy. It's just I'm having a hard time reading the rules. And if I'm having a hard time reading the rules and I have to force myself to kind of interpret what's being said using and I'm going to toot my own horn, using my vast knowledge of historical miniatures and historical miniature wargaming, I'm sure there might be somebody else out there that maybe is fairly new to historical miniature gaming, and they might not grasp it. And as you know, my Republican Romans, I based them on 15 millimeter depth bases, and uh, and the book specifically says 20 millimeter depth, but it also says in kind of like the foreword, it says you can use any size base, just as long as all the armies are using the same base, then there's not going to be any problem. Well, guess what? That's a lie. It's not a lie. It's misleading. Let's just say that, because I filmed a video last night um, as part of the boot camp, right? And I filmed the one on movement, 9.3, chapter 9.3, movement, and everything worked really well, right? No matter, and I was using some of my Republican Romans in the demonstrations that I do, right? I'll put them on the table, and kind of as I film, I kind of use my own figures to kind of show what they mean by this rule and how this rule might look on the table, or what have you. And I got to this one rule. There's only one so far. It's a 90-degree turn while in a block. So if you a block is when you have multiple units uh, moving together as a single unit. Uh, think of it like column by divisions or whatever. And uh, so there's something called a block move. And if you can uh, do a 90-degree turn, each unit does a 90-degree turn. And uh, what wound up happening was once both units do their 90-degree turn and you close up, it leaves a gap between the left and the right unit because there when you turn you're turning from 40 to 20, so there's actually like this gap, which is perfectly legit, right? But in the example it says if you do a 90-degree turn and move and the second unit moves up one base width, it would now be back into contact with the other unit. And the only way that's possible is if the depth of the bases are 20 millimeters, like the rules suggest. Because it wouldn't work with my 15 millimeter base Romans. So that one small rule just put the nail in the coffin for me doing all my bases 20 by 40 because I want it to work with the rules. Okay, continuing on with this Meg. I don't know if Meg they had a what do they call the thing? A compendium edition, which was a book which included Pacto, Magnus, and Maximus, which is the book that I have. I actually had two of them. I ordered the book separately, and then later I ordered the box set. Once I got the box set in, I went ahead and sold the book. Hardback book, very giant book. Very giant. You know, it's like almost 200 pages or whatever. Um, and as you know, I do a lot of business, or I should say, I do some business. I'm not going to say a lot of business, but I do some business with Plastic Soldier Company. And they are the official miniature provider for Meg. That doesn't mean anything because I use a lot of Old Glory miniatures. Essex and actually Forged in Battle is a good company to use for Meg. There's a whole bunch of Zeiston. You know, there's a lot of companies out there that make 15 millimeter ancient models, and but the official company is Plastic Soldier Company. They used to sell the book. Well, they still sell the dice, the cards, tokens, the miniatures, just not the book. Which is frustrating me as a retailer because I want to order some of these books and put them on the shelf so that my customers can buy them, or I can gift them to my friends or something. get more people playing. If I go to a convention, I can take them and put them on my table and say, you know, this is the game we're playing. You want to buy one, buy it or whatever. And I can't do that. So I went shopping for the Meg rules, and you can buy Meg. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to need any more water. You can buy Meg directly from the Meg website, which is basically their own site, which is not Plastic Soldier. But they don't have the compendium box set, and they don't have the compendium rules. They have two books. One is the Pacto rules, and then the other, which is the compact miniature game. It's like DBM or whatever. And then they've got the Maximus Magna rules, which is kind of the larger. When I say larger, I mean more figures. I don't mean larger scale. I don't mean like playing with 28s instead of 15s. I'm talking about playing with 4 to 6 bases in a unit and not 2 bases in a unit. That's what I'm talking about. So you got to order it directly from them, which you can. And apparently they go through a book printing company. I don't remember which one it's called. But when you order your book on their site, it says, give 2 to 5 extra days or something, because they have to print the book when you order it or something like that. It's basically a print to order kind of deal. Which is cool. I wouldn't mind waiting, but there's no retail. It's not a wholesaler for me to resell those books, so of course I'm not going to do that. So if you're looking for a book, you can, currently you can go to the Meg website and order the book directly. Try to decide which of the 3 games you're going to be playing, and then order that book. That's unfortunate because that means you don't have the compendium book that gives you both rules, because that's what my rule book is. It gives both rules. It gives the Pacto and the Magnum. So I plan to write Plastic Soldier Company. Anita, she's the one there that's basically my rep. I think she's sales manager or something like that. And I'm going to write her and I'm going to ask her if they plan to get any more of these books in, and, and allow me to buy them. Even if they discontinue the box set, which, that's fine. I would still just like to get some of the hardback books in, and more dice sets and more card sets. Because they currently still sell the dice, the cards, and the QRS. They even have a bundle where you can get the QRS tokens and dice and cards, I think. Yeah, I got my card sleeves in. Went ahead and mounted my two decks. I've got one in purple, one in red. Okay, I'm just doing the barrels and the bayonet of the muskets right now, and I'm flying through these guys. Um, I've only got I've only got two main colors. This metallic. Once I get this metallic on here, I would be ready. I would technically be ready to do a wash, and then these guys would be almost ready to go. But there are some straps either on their helmets or on their chest, the backpack straps, stuff like that, that need to be touched up. They need to be fixed or corrected. And I thought about just doing the wash and then doing the white straps after the wash because it would really make the white stand out because there would be no stain on the white. Um, but what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to do this immediately after the metallic here. I'm going to do, well, I'm probably going to do brass, a red sash on one of the generals, brass on the handles of these uh, sabers, and then I'm going to do white, right? And I'm only going to hit the really big items that stand out, and then I'm going to do the wash. And then I'm going to go back with a touch up after the wash and do like a white touch up on the straps, the pants, the gaiters. That way, and at that point, I should say, at that point, that's when I'll hit all the white straps. Okay. Okay, a little dizzy. So I've been trying this new Bang. It's called Root Beer Blaze. It's okay. It's nothing to write home about. But there is a monster drink that I just grabbed, and it is the bee's knees. Let me turn around just a second. Let me see what I find. This is it. I don't know. Focus shouldn't be working because I thought I turned the focus off. But it says Ultra Strawberry Dreams. That's awesome. Ultra Strawberry Dreams. Now, if you're curious about which metal I'm using on these guys, I'm using oily steel. I have recently fallen in love with oily steel for Napoleonic muskets, and I probably could use it for like medieval armor as well, but it's kind of a subdued gunmetal. It's like a gunmetal, uh, but not blue. More like a gray. So it's not. It doesn't look like the muskets have been blued. And it works perfect for the bayonets as well. I've got a few more topics. I had like 7 topics that I wrote down, and we've only touched on like 2 of them. I'm currently playing a lot of Xenonauts 2, which released a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago. Um, I'm really cramming a lot of that into my channel. I was doing 2 videos a day, mainly just to basically 2 hours, and I broke them down into like 1 hour videos. So basically, I got 2 1 hour videos. Um, and the reason why I did that was, well, for one thing, it means I've got more content going out, but also because Rumble doesn't let me upload something more than 15 gigabytes. And once I go at 1440 resolution and then I go over an hour, it tends to be about 17 gigs. So it wouldn't let me upload them. So I had to deliberately cut it under an hour to make sure. Now, when I recorded a video and it wound up being over an hour, what I was doing was editing it down and then rendering it as 1080. There's nothing wrong with 1080. 1080 is just fine, but if I'm playing and recording in 1440, I want to upload it in 1440. So I've decided that I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and then I'm going to not if it winds up being over 15 gigs, then I just won't upload it to Rumble. That's a that's a I don't know a conscious decision on my part to just say Rumble is secondary. And one of the reasons why that is, I've been uploading videos to Rumble for years. Yeah, I'm going to say years. And I've made exactly 1 penny on Rumble. And that's not an exaggeration. I made exactly 1 cent. Um, YouTube, It's a little bit more than that. It's quite a bit more than that. So I appreciate I appreciate YouTube. Um, I'm not making a fortune. I'm going to tell you that. I'm not even shoot. It doesn't even pay the time that I make these videos. I spend a lot of time editing and recording and stuff like that. And the YouTube money that comes in is not even worth it. Because remember, I'm doing like one or two videos a day, and they're all about an hour. So you can think I'm doing about maybe 2 hours a day recording, and then another 2 hours editing, um, approximately. And the money that I make from YouTube would wind up being about, let me do some math here real quick. About 50 cents a day. So I don't make any money on YouTube either, but 1 penny versus that's 1 penny in a couple of years. And then 50 cents a day, it's no brainer. Now, I understand the whole um, freedom of speech and censorship and all that, but I can tell you that I have I strongly support freedom of speech. Don't get me wrong. That's and I think certain censorship. I think some censorship is needed, but uh, some censorship is ideological, right? It's political or whatever. And I personally don't engage in that kind of a community. Now, I'm not saying that my viewers aren't political or they're not ideological, but that's just not something that I really emphasize or stress on my channel. I've never had a block. Now, I've had a warning, but it had nothing to do with that kind of stuff. It was a copyright warning. Like I put a song in one of my videos that I shouldn't have, or something like that. Not because I said a naughty word. So, in that regards, I think YouTube's been good to me. Now, if I ever decided to get political or say naughty words, at that point, YouTube might not be nice to me. They're actually probably, who knows, they might not be nice to me in the background. Maybe I'm not getting all the views that I could. But that's just me being a whiny bitch. I'm not trying to be um, the next YouTube star. I'm not trying to make $1 million on YouTube. That's not what I'm trying to do. I really don't care if YouTube pays me anything. That's not why I do it. I'm just glad that they do. Okay, sorry, went on a tangent there. Yeah, so I'm making videos, and I'm uploading them to Rumble and YouTube. But if it's over 15 gigs, I can't upload it to Rumble. So if you're ever looking for a video series of mine, um, you can find it on my YouTube channel. And I will also mention this. I have a number of playlists where you can pick and choose the topic that you are interested in on YouTube. You can't do that on Rumble. I don't have any way to make a playlist. It's very archaic, the streaming service, this video uploading service. Um, One day they'll get there. Maybe when X goes video, maybe I'll upload some X videos. If you haven't checked out my X, which is Twitter, you can go to you can check me out there. I probably post about twice a month, and it's usually pictures of miniatures I finished or models I'm getting in or something like that. I don't talk about like what kind of breakfast I had or you know what clothing I'm wearing for the day. That's not me. I got off of Facebook. I mean, I have a Facebook, but I pretty much got off of it because I was I was getting a post every hour, maybe even faster. It was like if you sat there and looked at my stream, it was just constant. My friends, some of them, not all of them, but some of my friends post ridiculous things on Facebook. And not that it's bad, but it was just so many. Just so many. I would have to live on my phone, staring at my phone on Facebook. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And then they say, well, you don't ever reply to me on Facebook. You're right, because I'm getting way too much information. So basically, I turned that off. I don't do that anymore. Twitter, I never log in. It's not that, it's not, it had the same, it has the same problem. I subscribe to a bunch of different like model companies like Warlord Games, uh, Sarissa, Plastic Soldier, or whatever, and they're putting stuff out every day. And so I'm getting inundated, and so I have to disconnect. I just have to disconnect. But I do log into YouTube and I do log into my eBay every single day, and my email actually, um, and that's enough for me. Okay, so I'm very happy. Now, before we do the white, because I'm going to hold that off before I do the wash, there's one model that needs red. It basically needs um, this British officer. I didn't realize, but I did all the generals, and then I just happened to not do this British officer's sash. Now you're asking me a question like, why are you painting a British officer? Well, I don't remember his name. I want to say Campbell or something like that. He he actually fought with the Russians against Napoleon. There was a Brit, Campbell. I don't know. His name's not Campbell. It's something. It's something Scottish, I do believe. Um, it's a Scottish name. McGregor? No. McNasty? No, I don't know. I can't remember. But either way, that's who this guy is supposed to be. Perry included him in his uh, general pack, and this and my patron bought this general pack and wanted me to paint it. So guess what? I'm painting this British guy. Oh yeah, that's actually a really good color for the English sashes, because you got their red coat, but then you got this deep red for their sash. So it kind of gives a little bit of a contrast. They're both red, but it's contrasting red. Yep, that looks really good. And that's all it was, just a little red sash. Yeah, my eyes are getting old or something, I don't know. I might need to adjust the focus of these glasses. Because I've got like a variety of glasses depending on what I'm using it for. So let me see if I've got one that might be better. Yeah, I think these are fives, which are just way too powerful, I think. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think these are too powerful. All right, let me try these. Okay, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's a little out of focus. Okay. I think these have been the best for me for a while now. I think these are 3.5s. All right, while I'm waiting for this paint to be shook up, let me see. Some might remind myself of some of these other topics. We can jump into them. Oh, yeah, I definitely wanted to say this. Old Glory. Old Glory. Old Glory. Okay, so I'm talking about Old Glory 15s. You know, I've been doing a lot of 15 millimeter World War II and Ancients and stuff like that. And I put a recent order in, I got it in, and there was no invoice, right? And so I was like, well, what exactly are these? You know, I could figure it out by looking at them and stuff like that. And plus, um, I could go to their website and see what each of those items were or whatever. I don't mind doing that. But their website has been down for a month now, right? And uh, they go through GoDaddy, and apparently they were doing some kind of update, maybe a security update or something on their website, and so it had to go down for a week. It was supposed to be back up on the 7th, and then the 7th went to the 14th, and then the 14th went to the 27th, and it's now what, the 28th, and it's still not up. Okay, so I can't compare my order to the website. So I did a video a few days ago, last week, a few days ago. I don't remember when I did it, but I did a video where it was a store update. I do my store updates, let people know like what I'm working on and stuff like that. And I mentioned it as part of the news because I have like a news section of my store update. And the news was, or maybe it was under the product, or I don't remember, but I mentioned it in the video that I got this order in and that I didn't get an invoice. And I said, no worries, I'll figure it out. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to use this one. So it wasn't a big deal. It was a deal, but not a big deal, right? I'm not going to be butthurt about it. So I moved on with my life and continued on doing my thing. And then I got an email from somebody in the warehouse at Old Glory. And he said, and this is just blew my mind. He said, while watching your video, I heard that you didn't receive an invoice. Because I didn't send him an email or anything asking him, like, where's my invoice? And he said, while watching your video, I saw that you didn't have an invoice. So I went looking, and under the, in the shipping area, I won't go into specifics, but he goes, in the shipping area, I found your invoice. It was under a table. So I took a copy, or took a picture of it, and he sent me the email with a picture of my invoice, front and back. What do you think about that? That that may almost it almost made me cry. Um, Not because I was getting a view, even though I joked around with them saying, "Hey, thanks for watching my video," and stuff like that. But that's not what really got to me. What got to me was he watched my video, he heard my struggle, my issue, and he went out of his way to try to, without being asked to, went out of his way to help me resolve the issue. That was just that was super cool, I thought, from Old Glory. And I do mean Old Glory 15s, which is actually a company called 19th Century Miniatures. Uh, they've just they've just picked up a customer for life. I mean, I pretty much was already a customer, but oh my lord, I don't know what to do. That was just super awesome. And I'm going to tell this story one more time on my next store news update because that's where I announced that I was missing the invoice. So I felt like that would be the best place to, to announce that I received my invoice by email. And one thing about that invoice, I was happy to. The reason why one of the I was happy to get it and check it because I had thought that I ordered 3 trucks, right? But my invoice said that I had only ordered one and I was only billed for one. And I had received one. so so that's okay. I really didn't need that truck. It was just it's a French it's a French truck, the Citroen, and there's a few scenarios in Normandy where the Germans are using the Citroen truck. So I wanted to get a couple of them. So I've got this box behind me that has all those figures in it. So if we get to the point where I'm putting a wash on, which I don't think we're going to actually make it on this video. I'll probably end this video before that happens. But if we do, and I apply a wash and we still have extra time, I was thinking I'll inventory that box according to that invoice. But I don't think we're going to get that far. Because the white is going to take a moment. This brass that I'm putting on right now, it's the sword handle, the quillions, the crossguard. Some people would call it the hilt. The hilt, that is not correct. It is not the hilt. It is the quillions. Even though I think the quillions is part of the hilt, I think it's a component of the hilt. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the hilt is part of the quillions. I don't remember. I'm not concerned. And it's like all the Russians, elites or regular fusiliers or musketeers, it looks like they all have a little sword. Where like in the French army, it would only be the elites. The voltigeurs and the grenadiers would have swords. The their fusiliers would have like bayonet, and that's it. You think it has something to do with the money, or do you think it has something to do with the effectiveness of the sword and or the weight of it? I'm just curious why the Russians all carry a sword and the French and the British don't. Actually, most other nations don't. Just the elites carry them like a status symbol. The Russians are a lot like the Brunswickers or the Prussians in that they don't really have skirmishing elites. They have marksmen that are in the other battalions that are pulled to form skirmisher units. They're not they're not bespoke or whatever. Even though I bet you the guys that are in or the guys that are marksmen know who they are and know that when they're called out, which ones have to report. I'm sure they know already. So it's not a surprise. Okay, there's a mistake on these two muskets I'm going to have to fix um, before I let that slide. Yeah, when I was doing the muskets last night, there's a lot of muskets, dude. There's 175 figures here. About 100 of them, 100 and I don't know, 60 of them have muskets. Not so much the drummer or the officers, the standard bearers. But everybody else does. Okay, so that was the Old Glory thing. Okay, I talked about Plastic Soldier Company and how I'm going to send them an email and ask them about Meg and see what their future plans are for Meg. There is a company out there, Forged in Battle, as you know. They make excellent 15 millimeter World War II and ancient figures. Um, I They have a game called Empires. Uh, and it's not out yet. Been in the works for quite some time. I'm kind of waiting to get it, or I'm looking forward to getting it when it comes out. Um, I'm just curious how it compares to Meg. I'm going to say, watch your ears because I was about to sneeze. So, if I do wind up finishing these later this afternoon, um, and basing them up and flocking the bases and all that, I'll be sure to do a video showing off what they look like completed. Um, After these, I plan to do. This is part of the. This is another topic I've got out there. I plan to do some World War II 28 millimeter bolt action kind of models. I have a number of box sets from Offensive Miniatures. I've also got some West Wind, and I've got some Warlord Games. All bolt action models, some vehicles from Perry. I basically have a whole bunch of stuff on the back burner waiting to be put together and sold on the store. This morning I was noticing that my store collection, the inventory on the store, is getting pretty thin. And I was just thinking it's probably because of this right here, this Russian commission. And before that, I was doing an SS commission. Um, and a Pacific commission. There's a lot of commissions. And don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. That's really a good thing. It's just that the miniatures on the store are still selling and they're not getting replenished. So I'm going to basically take it upon myself that once I get this commission finished, I'm going to jump on some World War II for the store. I really want to do the Macedonians. I've got them all ready to go. They're primed. The spears are in their hands and everything. It's just that's personal, and I got to put my personal wants to the side to get the store models finished, or at least my inventory back up. Also, guys, if you're out there and you're watching this video and you are interested in a type of miniature, World War II, fantasy, sci-fi, Napoleonic, Romans, Carthaginians, Greeks, whatever you're into, orcs even, whatever you're interested in, let me know. Just drop it in the comments that you're looking for some orcs or whatever. And then what I'll do is I might grab some of my orcs that I've got in a box, put them together and put them on the store. No obligation, just you're giving me an idea of what you're looking for, and you might not be the only person looking for it. And if you like my painting, or if you like the miniatures I put up, buy them. Now, if you're not in the market, like you're just like you don't buy painted miniatures ever, then don't say anything. You know, I'm not, unless you say in your message, like, I'm looking for a brand new box set of Oathmark orcs or something. But even if you troll me, it'll be okay because I'll put it up on the store and it'll sell. And I have the final say on the veto of what goes up on the store. So if you say, I'm really looking for some zombies painted pink on tricycles with clown noses, you know, I might say, that's interesting. If you, and then at that point, I would commission it. Like, if you really want this, then commit. But if it sounds ridiculous, I'm not going to paint it and put it up on the store. Just so you know. But I suspect you already knew that. All right, so what do I got that's going to go up on the store soon? Well, I've got German SS. Now, this is 28 millimeters that I'm talking about. German SS. I got some Perry resin vehicles that they really make some really good vehicles. Now, I'm going to have to comment about one of the vehicles. I think it's the Renault. I ordered an R39. It came in, everything's good. I'm going to be able to paint it and put it up on the store. But it's advertised as being resin, and it's actually 3D printed. So I'm kind of upset about that. Because 3D printed just doesn't have the, or I should say that 3D model just didn't have enough detail on it. It was kind of Bleh. Bland. Well, I found a 3D printer uh, that makes high-speed tractors in 15 millimeter. It's the only place I can find it, and they're reasonably priced. So I've been thinking about getting in a dozen or so, painting them up and putting them up on the store, because if I don't know where to buy them, other people might not know where to buy them. And you really need them for the heavy caliber American guns. Can't just use half tracks. I thought about using a German RSO as an American high speed tractor, and I was committing to doing that when I found this guy actually makes M4 high speed tractors. And I was like, oh, look at that. And then I ordered a couple of them. They came in and they look really, really good. Even though they're 3D printed, he must use a really high resolution printer. They look really good. That's why I was thinking I might want to buy a couple more of them. Okay, let's shake this brass balls up. Normally I don't do business with anybody that does 3D printing, especially the guys that are 3D printing models that they don't make. Like, I've seen some guys selling 3D printed Warlord Games models. Like, they'll take the model, make a mold out of it, and they'll 3D print it. That's stealing. You know, they shouldn't be doing that. I've seen Games Workshop models like Tyranids or Space Marines. That's stealing. I understand, like, if you have a 3D printer and you 3D print for your own personal collection on the table, you can do whatever you want to do. But as soon as you start selling it, you're breaking the law, in my opinion. Okay, let's see what we got. Old Glory Invoice, Fig Labels, Meg Bootcamp, PFC. I've got another video about bases. We'll be doing that. Wire, Macedonian Army, Old Glory website frustration. Okay, I've only got a couple more topics on here. That's good. I plan to be making a basing video. It's not going to be, it's going to be a base comparison video. It's not going to be a video about how to base or what materials to flock with or what glues to use or whatever. That's not the kind of video this is. This is going to be a video about the actual basing material itself, like MDF, plastic, metal, plywood, or whatever, right? Thicknesses of the bases. Why certain thicknesses work good with certain miniatures. Why certain basing materials have advantages over other basing materials. That's the kind of video that this is going to be. It's going to be kind of a know-it-all video. If you've been with me long enough, you'll remember a few years ago, I used to do a whole series called Know It All, which uh, it kind of self-deprecating, right? Because oh, you're a know-it-all, you know. I wanted it to be kind of a negative, like because I don't know it all, but I was saying I know it all, and what I did with those know-it-all videos was I would take a product and I would tell you how to use it or why it was good to use or why it was bad to use. Um, Not a tutorial because it's not a show you how to do it. It was a kind of like a product review mixed with a tutorial. It's weird. It was a know-it-all video. But I did most of these know-it-all videos on airsoft guns. And I would show people how to repair a gearbox or how to change a battery or uh, and I don't mean like unplug and plug. I mean use a different battery or a different type of plug. So you'd have to redo the wiring. Um, why certain gases were better than other gases in the gas powered guns. Green gas versus brown gas. I used a lot of kerosene and not kerosene. What the hell? Maybe it was What is it? Whatever the lighter fluid is. I can't remember. It's been so long. Propane. There you go. Yeah, I was using propane in my guns and had a little propane adapter and stuff. I used to be really big into airsoft. I mean, if I had a friend that would join me at the field and do airsoft, I would be all about it. I'd go. But towards the end there, I started going by myself to different events. I even went out of state to go to not tournaments, but like overnight events, field events, and stuff like that. I was really big into airsoft. There was a point where I thought I was going to open an airsoft retail store. Um, I started a website called Screaming Eagle Airsoft, and because 101st and all that, but I kind of when we moved from our old studio, I I kind of got disconnected, and then I got a job that prevented me from basically I had to work weekends. And most of these airsoft events were on the weekends. So now I don't work weekends. Don't have to work weekends. I can. I opt to. But if I had a friend that said, hey, let's go do this airsoft event, it's on a Saturday, I would be like, okay, let me get all my stuff. Let me make sure my gun's working and make sure my batteries are charged and all of that. Okay, so another video that I'm going to do, okay, that's the know-it-all video, but what's that know-it-all video going to be about? It's going to be about bases. Um, why use a metal base? Why use a wooden base? Why use a plastic base? Why use a 3 millimeter base instead of a 1 or a 0.8 millimeter base, or, etc. What kind of figures go on which kinds of bases best? So I'm going to do that video, and then I'm going to do a wire video. Believe it or not, I'm going to do like a wire, not a wire comparison, but this is going to be more like a tutorial how to make wire pikes for pikemen or Macedonians, and how to get them to go into their hands and stuff like that. I think um, that video is pretty much going to be for myself. I've already done it, but I want to do a few experiments, and so I might do a video of me experimenting. And my what's in the boxes, that's another thing. This is all going to probably go on the news as well, which I film normally on Sunday nights and upload on Mondays. That's the plan for my store updates. But I'm going to do a video. Wait, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. My what's in the boxes. I've noticed that I have a lot of what's in the box. I mean, a lot. So I'm going to continue to film what's in the box, especially as new product comes out. Definitely. As I get new product that I've never had before. Definitely. That kind of stuff. But what I need to do is make a second playlist. I want, or maybe even a third playlist, or a fourth or a 10th playlist. What I want to do is organize my what's in the boxes into multiple playlists. I was thinking I would do them by genre. Okay, now this is something you guys can help me out with. I was thinking about doing it by genre, right? So I could do like a playlist for World War II, a playlist for the ancient period, a playlist for Napoleonics, a playlist for fantasy, another one for sci-fi, maybe one for vehicles as opposed to infantry, or something like that. That's why I was thinking about breaking up the playlists. So if you were to go to my what's in the boxes, you could say, okay, well, let's take a look at all these World War II figures, and then I'll have a bunch of playlists for World War II. But as an alternative to that, I was thinking I could do a playlist by manufacturer. Like have a bunch of Plastic Soldier Company in one playlist, Warlord Games in one playlist, Flames of War in one, and Old Glory in one, and I'm leaning towards that because that does two things. Because most manufacturers, like let's say Flames of War, if you're looking at the Flames of War models, you're also only looking at 15 millimeter World War II. Possibly modern, because they got the Team Yankee stuff. But it kind of, and if you look at Plastic Soldier Company, you're pretty much looking at World War II, maybe Ancients. And if you're looking at Old Glory, 15s, it's going to be 15s. But it could be any genre. If you're looking at West Wind, it's probably 25 millimeter World War II. If you're looking at Warlord Games, it's probably 28 millimeter, one of three genres. But there's a lot of product loyalty out there. And there's also the manufacturer already inadvertently, or not subconsciously, but artificially limits the playlist to obviously the models they make, which are going to be probably in one or two genres already. But if I do a genre, let's say, okay, I've already done these guys. I did these guys on day uno. Yeah, those guys are good. These guys are good too. They just need their wood on their buttstocks fixed. But hypothetically, let's say you were looking at genre and I do Ancients. I could do Field of Battle or Forged in Battle. That's what I meant. Forged in Battle. I could do Old Glory. I could do the Meg Pacto stuff, the Ultracast from Plastic Soldier. And then they would be all mixed up in a playlist called Ancients, right? And that might brighten or broaden, that's the word I was looking for, that might broaden somebody's horizon. Like they might be looking for, Flames of War model box reviews, and then they might see a Plastic Soldier Company box review and say, oh, I didn't know the Plastic Soldier Company made dingoes or whatever. I say that because the dingoes are on sale. But yeah, so they might say that. Okay. But I'm leaning towards manufacturer playlists. And there's nothing wrong with putting something in multiple playlists. That's another thing I can do. I can put a video in a Plastic Soldier well, not Plastic Soldier. Let's say, yeah, I could put it in a Plastic Soldier Company playlist, and then I could also place it in an Ancient playlist. I might do that. Okay, so this is the color of my buttstocks, but I don't want to use this paint. I'm going to use an alternative. So yeah, so expect my eBay, not my eBay store, but expect my YouTube site to have a bunch of different playlists just pop up on my homepage. I don't know if you guys ever go to my homepage, but I've got a whole wargaming section there And it's kind of discombobulated, in my opinion. I think I need to kind of go through it and organize it. But I've got videos that have been in here since, since YouTube started or whenever. I make 1,000 videos a year, so it would be very hard for me to find all those videos and reorganize them. But I'm thinking I want to do that. I think I'm going to take some time someday and just go through there and kind of fix it. Okay, are these the guys that are jacked up? They are. Okay. I think this paint is starting to thin out. I might need to get some more of it. Okay, that's resolved. That's fixed. That only took a... We'll call it Gun Core Brown. Okay. Might need to order another one of these. Gun Core Brown is a really good wood brown color for muskets and stuff. Actually, I might have another one of these. I'll have to go look. I've got a bunch of extra bottles. Okay. So the metal is done. Red. All the colors are done except for white. And washing it. And then I want to go back over it with white to touch up. So normally I use a big bottle of white. And this is normally super thin. But white and black doesn't have to be very thick to have very good coverage. And this is something. This is apple barrel. It's still plaid. I really like plaid. They're the ones that do folk art. They also do Mod Podge, the glue and stuff like that. Apple barrel just tends to be very thin. See, this says covers in 1 or 2 coats. Yeah. But luckily it's white, and white will go on even after 1 coat. Okay, so we take our figs and we slide them along. And if you don't know, this is how I do it. This is how I do it. Okay, I start them there and then I move them over as I work on them. Okay, let's go to another palette. Basin. I think that's good. A lot of white, but that's okay. And again, this white is not the final white. This is kind of a pre-wash white. Yeah, some of these guys are wearing white pants, and I can see the metal shining through the white from when they were primed, and that's why I'm painting their pants white. This is a pre-wash white. This pom-pom, when I painted the black bicorn, I must have touched some of the pom-pom. That's taken care of. Yeah, see, this white is actually time consuming. It's very time consuming. Okay, now this drone, the rope cords, I always paint them white. Never like rope color, like hemp or anything like that, because when the wash goes on, I don't fix it. I let the wash discolor the white cords because then they become the right color. Now, I was thinking about recoloring the figures bases, uh, maybe an earth tone, so it would blend in better when I do the actual flocking and texturing of the bases and stuff. But I can do that after the wash. Okay, that drum is good to go. And their pants are good to go. These guys are 100% good to go. They just need to be washed. So what I'm looking at now is pom-poms, gloves, pants. Like there's a green spot on his pant. Yeah, that's taken care of. Yep, these guys look really good. I'm gonna say they're done. Okay, the Grenadier miter caps are going to be finicky because I'm putting a little bit of a white stripe on the back of their miter cap. And maybe up the center. Okay. Yeah, this is going to take a while because there's a lot of little bitty fiddly lines. And remember, I said I'm really not doing all those lines until after the wash. Specifically the drummer, how he's got all these little straps on his sleeves. Actually, I might do the drummers before the wash because the wash will really bring those stripes out. Yeah, I might do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here because it's going to take me a minute and I'm really sticking my tongue out and concentrating. Almost forgot about the drum chords. There's also these tassels hanging off the swords. They should be white as well. There's just a lot of white on these Russian uniforms. Okay, before we close, let me just see if there's something I missed in my list of things I wanted to talk about, and then we'll let the video end. Okay, we got painted figures thinning out. Okay, we talked about that. The shield sprues. Okay, well, I took a bunch of my ancient sprues that I was keeping, I was hoarding, and I snipped off all the shields, and I probably have about 50 shields, various types, Macedonian, Roman, uh, Republican Roman, Imperial Roman, Gaelic, either from Victrix or Warlord. These are all 28 millimeters. I think I'm just going to hold on to the shields because I can use them for other projects. Like I can put them on an orc, or I could put them on, you know, a fantasy figure or something. So I'm just going to hold on to the shields. I don't think it would be worth me putting them in a Ziploc bag and selling them as bits. All right. So thanks for coming out and watching this video today with me hanging out. Expect to see more over the next few days, and I will probably film another video for my Meg tonight as well. I did one already for movement. It's filmed, it's just not uploaded. And then the next one is what, charges and charge responses. I think that's the next video. All right, guys.